Hi, my name is Cody Bishop, and I am a survivor. If you're in the deep, dark depths of addiction as I was, there is hope to get out. And if you haven't got there yet, take the opportunity to get out before it gets that low, because it is hell, but you can survive.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the story of Cody Bishop. Some of you guys may have seen his story. It's went viral. It's reached over 10 million different people. On screen right now, you can see his before and after pictures. In the before picture, he was 270 pounds while he was in recovery.
Yes, sir.
During the worst of his addiction, how much were you weighing?
I got down to 135 at one point.
So he got down to 135 at his lowest, and you can see the huge difference in these pictures, and you can see him now. Cody just told me he's weighing 215 pounds now.
Yeah.
So you went from 135 to 215.
Yeah.
It's like over 70 pounds.
Big difference.
That's crazy.
Big difference.
That's crazy. Real quick, guys, please do me a favor. Take a second to like this video, comment your favorite thing about recovery or your favorite thing about the video, and most importantly, share this video. If you do so, you'll be entered for a chance to win a recovery t-shirt, and not only that, you can help other people find rehab and recovery resources. Thanks to you guys sharing these videos and interacting with them, we've been able to help over 1,000 different people to get into treatment in just the last month alone. Now, back to the video. So for those that don't know, a real quick background on Cody was him and his girlfriend Katie were living homeless on the streets of Las Vegas. And his mom made a post, just a sincere, heartfelt post to try and find them. Ended up going viral, reaching millions of people. I had a mom that sent it to me, and I decided I wanted to try and help them out for a number of different reasons, which we're going to be talking about here in just a second. So Cody, please tell me about what it was like to hear that you had went viral for being lost and homeless.
Right.
And, you know, what happened after?
It was a shock, you know. It went from an everyday thing just to that moment, and I was actually riding my bike down the streets, and people found me and told me, and I didn't believe them. I thought they were cops trying to get me in the car.
Yeah.
And they called my mother, and my mom told me to trust them, you know, and I knew she'd look out for my best interests. So.
Okay.
But I was really happy because it got to the point in our addiction where death wasn't a question, it was when that was coming. You know what I mean? It got to such a low point that I didn't know if there was a way out. And being homeless and stuff, there was no job, no income, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull myself out of that situation in a healthy manner. And then to find out there were some recovery options was a blessing.
So speaking of recovery options, I know when I had first approached Cody and his mom that they said they were in talks with the Dr. Phil show. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about your experience with that?
Yeah, so it's a pretty touchy subject, but yeah, they got a hold of us, you know, and I saw it as a blessing at first, but then as the time unwinded, things started to become apparent. You know, they wanted to get some videos of us panhandling. They wanted us using, and I guess it was for the television show basically, but it came down to the point where they were enabling my addiction. And I actually got sent money for a hotel room and other necessities, and that wasn't a very good function for us addicts, you know, and it really came down to the basis of using the money for drugs, and I'm sure they were aware of that, so there's no good thing. I mean, at some point, a TV show should not matter.
Right.
It's about that person's life, and that's when it became apparent to me that I wasn't important to them. It was what they would get out of that.
Right.
And that's the complete wrong step of what recovery is about. You know, we're trying to better our lives and get things back, not the materialistic components, you know, and that really bothered me.
Absolutely, and that was a big reason why I decided the scholarship, not just Cody, but his girlfriend as well. You know, he said he wasn't going to go to treatment unless she got help as well. Yeah. So normally it's hard to pull one scholarship, had to pull some strings, got two for him. And Cody said it perfectly. You know, that's what it boiled down to. It was like, this isn't just like some viral story. These are two human beings whose lives matter, who have a ton of potential, who have families that love them. And you know, their life matters. So I didn't want Cody to have to wait several weeks to get on a TV show in order to get help. I wanted to help him right then because it became a matter of life and death. You guys were still out there. That's what ended up dying.
Exactly. And I mean, it wasn't even just the addiction that was killing us. The activities that you take place in your addiction to get the things for your addiction are not good, you know, and especially when you're at that low point of being homeless. Most of the time you're not working a job, so you have to do illegal activities to get the money, and most of those illegal activities in themselves are dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a Russian roulette game with yourself on what you're going to do to get your next fix. And it didn't matter what it was. I was going to do it.
Well, when it comes to illegal drugs, drug dealers, and owing them money, it's always a dangerous situation.
Definitely.
You know, they don't play around with it.
No, not one bit. I mean, they might not even be the most mean person, but the game tells them that they have to be a certain way so people listen, you know?
Absolutely. So ultimately, that's why I decided to help Cody, and I just want to throw in there, like, I have no personal dealings with Dr. Phil or his show. I'm sure he does help a lot of people. Just in this circumstance, I knew that if I didn't act, that they were probably going to end up dead.
Oh, definitely.
So that's why I decided to intervene, get them into treatment. And Cody, how long do you have clean now?
I have 56 days today.
56 days.
Yeah,
that's incredible, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. How do you feel?
I feel like a new me, honestly. There's things coming back into my life that I didn't think were going to be repaired, you know? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. You know, family is almost a given. But I have honor in myself again. I have pride in myself again. I walk with a straight back. You know, I don't have my head down. I'm carrying myself with the composure of a healthy individual. And I did not think I would ever grasp that again.
Feels good to be alive again.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
I know when I first got clean and started to get up to like the 60-day mark, I started gaining some weight back. You know, you gained what, like 70, 80 pounds?
Oh,
like
definitely,
that, you know? And it feels good. And the biggest thing that I notice about Cody that really gives me hope for him, like I truly believe, Cody, I told you this on, you know, I think you were day 3 in detox.
Right.
I told you this. I see something in you. Like God has a plan for you.
Definitely.
You're very well spoken, and he kept you alive for a reason. Just like he kept me alive for a reason, and I've been able to help a lot of people, I really think you're going to help a lot of people one day as well.
I hope so. That's the main purpose of this, you know. If we aren't facing this for no reason, I don't see why it would be happening. We're going through it so we can help the next individual. We're not giving a hand out, we're giving a hand up. You know, we need to pull people on a higher platform. You know, it's a really sad thing. There's a stigma that sticks with addiction, and it's absurd. These are people's sons and daughters, mothers and parents. You know, we need to really help individuals like myself. It's a beautiful world. Man was made to help other men. Yeah. Not to go for personal gain, you know?
Well, that's a personal realization that I came to because when I was withdrawing in jail cells and catching multiple felonies and spending years in jail on and off, I wondered, why is God putting me through this? Doesn't God love me? But then I realized that I had to walk through that hell. I had to walk through those fires so I could pull other people out and help them the same way that I was helped.
Exactly.
And that's what I truly think you're going to do, and you've already done. The other thing that I wanted to mention to everybody was when Cody came to me, he told me that if he got help, he wanted to share his story. He wanted his story to help other people because before he even went into treatment, his story was seen by millions of people and inspired other people to reach out for help and got America talking about addiction again. Yeah. So I told Cody, you know what? We don't need the Dr. Phil show. We're going to reach millions of people right here on social media, and we're going to help a lot of people. And that's exactly what his story has done. It's been incredible. I counted today, out of the posts that we've made, we've reached over 10 million people via social media. We've received between 7,000 and 8,000 messages just due to sharing your story. And over 5,000 people have gotten into rehab because they reached out to me and Shanda for help. And are now have a chance at life. You know? And that's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And that's why I always tell you, man, the sky is the limit, brother. Like, I believe you're going to be doing the exact same thing that I'm doing one day. And you're going to help hundreds, if not thousands of people because you already have directly and indirectly helped thousands of people just by sharing your story. Cody, what are you doing now for your recovery?
So I actually have a really strict routine. You know, I fall into routines very easy, but I know an idle mind is my worst enemy. I wake up early in the morning, and I actually put my shoes under my bed, so whenever I go to get my shoes, I have to get on my knees and pray. You know, because the ultimate authority is the one that's helped me save my life. But physical activity, you know, there's treatment centers out there that are addicts to athletes, and that's for a purpose, you know. I get my dopamine release now is when I go to the gym and lift, and I'm paying attention to being healthy because I was so unhealthy. I've actually went vegan, you know, and I'm eating just fish, but it's an incredible thing, you know. I feel healthier than I ever have.
So when you say you're vegan, so you're following a vegan diet, but you also incorporate fish into your diet as well. That's funny because that's something me and Shanda talked about wanting to do. It's actually a very healthy diet.
It is.
So that's incredible to think, you know, a month ago you were like living under bridges, shooting heroin with God knows what in it. And now you're vegan and you eat fish.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge transformation.
Incredible. That's literally like the gift of recovery, and recovery in general. It's just doing things like the complete opposite way of the way that you would used to do them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It kind of breaks it down to that's not the individual we are, you know, because whenever you're using, you're not thinking with the same thought processes as whenever you're in a, like, sobriety, you know, and it's fun. Honestly, I get to learn myself. Yeah,
and figure out who you are as a person.
Right.
So, Cody, without mentioning any specific fellowships, do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with the 12-step program?
So, this is actually really incredible. I've never worked the 12 steps, preferably. You know, I've kind of dabbled in them, but now I'm going through it in depth with a good sponsor, and I'm on step 4, so it's actually really, it kind of pisses me off. I'm starting to learn who I was and who I am now, and I didn't realize like I was certain types of ways, but it's a very big learning process because you don't look at yourself on your inner self when you look in the mirror. You know, you just see the reflection of what is there. But whenever you do the 12 steps, you break it down and you start to learn why your addiction took place and what you were covering up for that.
No, that's the whole, what I found in my experience doing outreach for the last 4 years is that people can get clean. You can throw them in a detox for a week or two. They will go back and use every time. What we have to do is to get to the core root of our issues and figure out why were we using in the first place? What pain are we trying to cover up, and what mental health issues do we have that we need to address? You know, for me, it's anxiety and depression. If you're comfortable, do you want to talk a little bit about your inner struggles?
So I actually faced depression as well. And then in the past, I was diagnosed bipolar. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I was up and down all the time. You know, I have a manic bipolar disorder, and it's always hyper, you know, and then I'll have times low, but depression's the big one for me because when I'm sitting still, you know, idle mind is the worst for me. I spin these wheels in my brain and I think about everything I've done wrong, and it really beats me up, you know, and that's the hardest thing for me. I can take a physical punch, but a punch to the heart is the one that hurts the most, you know, because it leaves a scar. It's really hard to overcome the mental aspects.
Well, you know, as men too, like we're taught from a young age, like don't show your feelings. Be tough, you know, men don't cry. Stuff like that, right? And when you're dealing with a legitimate mental health issue where you can't help that you feel depressed, you can't help that you feel down. And the antidote to that is to talk with someone and talk about your problems, but we're told to not talk about it. And it's difficult learning that new way of life and learning that it's okay for a man to cry. It's okay for a man to talk about his feelings. It doesn't make you weak at all.
You got to get comfortable with being in, what is it? I just forgot the word now.
With being uncomfortable?
I guess. With being vulnerable.
That's it. That's absolutely it. You know, showing a little bit of weakness so you can gain strength. Just like in our addiction, we went through some of the worst things possible in our entire life, but now it's a source of strength for us to help others to do the same.
And like I said on a previous video with you, you know, it's not defining ourselves by making the worst decision. And we don't have to make the best decision. We just can't use, you know. And it's the part of the no matter what club.
My first sponsor told me this. He said, all you got to do, Richie, is to keep doing the next right thing and you'll be okay. And I said, well, what if I don't know what the next right thing is? He says, well, could you tell me what the next wrong thing is? I was like, that's pretty easy, right? I said, yeah, I can. He said, well, do the opposite of that. And it's worked for me, you know. It's worked for the last 5 years.
And that's incredible.
Absolutely.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. So, Cody, you want to tell us a little bit about your stroke and what impact that's had on you?
Yeah, so I'm sure people have noticed the droop in my mouth. Whenever I was homeless, honestly, I was trying to get the most out of everything I took, you know, and I had embolism in my brain because of it from a particle going through the syringe, and it was actually kind of hard to go through, you know. I've actually got a lot of torment from it whenever I was on the street, people making fun of it and stuff, and that goes back to the mental aspect. Like, it hurt me as a man, you know, but I don't know, I don't know, I'm stuck.
No, just think about it. So you're talking about your stroke, feeling vulnerable. Feeling vulnerable with having a condition like that, and then learning how to not let that bother you.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, it's hard. I've had to grow a backbone for the first time in my life, you know, and carry myself upright. But that's with being vulnerable. I'm using it as the innermost making of myself, and it's creating the person I am now.
No, I mean, I notice in your demeanor, you know, you seem confident and comfortable with yourself, and that's important, because no matter what it may be that we're uncomfortable with ourselves, you know, like if it is like we've had some kind of health condition that affects us in some type of way, if we love ourselves, other people will love us as well, just for being ourselves. I don't think I've ever shared with anybody on camera, but I've had Bell's palsy myself 3 different times, and what that does is it partially paralyzes your face for a couple weeks at a time. Yeah. So I had the same thing, you know, like I would have a droop in my mouth, and even today, let me see if I can show it on camera. When I smile, the one side of my face will start to shake. So, you know, it shakes a little bit, but you know, I had to learn to grow comfortable with that, and you're doing the same. Yeah, and I think it's important for people to see that no matter what torment you've done on your mind, your body, or your soul, you can heal that. Definitely. And you can learn to love it.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So, let's talk next about some of your plans for the future. Like, what are your plans for the future?
To stay sober, most of all, you know. I don't want to fall into my same pattern, but I want to complete my 12-step program and learn who I am as a person and then teach it to somebody else. But honestly, I want to get into the treatment field, you know, because this is such a sensitive subject to me. And it has defined who I am from going through what I've gone through, that I want to start helping individuals myself, you know. I really want to get out there and try and stop the stigma and start a conversation about what's going on. I don't know, I've had a lot of friends die from this, you know, and it is a life or death scenario. We're playing Russian roulette every time we go to get high. And I want to try and help people get that gun out of their hand in a form of speech, you know. I really want to get people to start taking the step, you know, taking that chance of getting sober. It's a hard decision to make, but it can be an easier one to go through with somebody, you know. We gotta reach out for our friends, you know. It's not just families that are trying to get people into treatment and stuff. I want to get friends talking to their buddies, you know, let them know that there's a situation going on and try and help them, you know.
Well, that's why it's so important for people like me and you to reach out our hands and pull people out of that fire. Because we've walked it, we've been through it, we understand it, and that's exactly what we try and do today. You know, Cody's called me different times and said like how he was recognized at different meetings, right? Yeah. And that people were trying to like get pictures with him and talk to him and make him feel kind of like a celebrity, more or less of the term, right? Yeah. But like Cody doesn't want that right now. No. Like, tell me about it. Like,
yeah. So I'm not really consuming myself with the media source, you know. I just feel I have something bigger than myself playing a part in my life right now. You know, I have this opportunity to be a person, to stop the stigma, to raise awareness for the homelessness and addiction, you know. Because if an individual like myself, you know, most people wouldn't have approached me out on the streets. And now if I go towards somebody, they're not going to pull their kid away, you know. I really want to show people that it doesn't matter who you look like, it's who you are, you know. And I mean, it's a really sensitive subject, you know, and people try to avoid it.
Absolutely, you know, and I mean, I just think that's awesome because you're sharing your story and helping a ton of people, right? But you're not being consumed by the attention your story is getting. And that's so important because as addicts, our egos are some of our biggest enemies. And I have to watch myself and humble myself often because I share my story with millions of people, right? But I can't let that consume my thoughts. I'm just a person trying to do God's work. I'm not bigger than God. I'm not bigger than my purpose. You're not bigger than God. You're not bigger than your purpose. And most importantly, you got about 2 months clean. You got to focus on that first and foremost before you can go out and save the world. And I just love that about you, man, that you are focusing on that. You don't want all the other attention. You want to share your story, but that's not what you do constantly. You're not on social media constantly like, oh, how many views is there? How many comments? That's awesome, dude. Super proud of you.
And it's hard, you know, because it's a selfish program being sober. And it's really easy to get consumed with that. But in a sense, I have trouble with it because I don't want to be recognized as the face of heroin and meth. But if I had the opportunity to help the next person get out of that look, you know, it's all worth it to me.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. And it's a fine line, walking a balance. When you share your story publicly, you have to walk the line between helping people, inspiring people, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable,
right?
But then also not falling into that ego trap where you get consumed with it, and that's the only reason you're doing it. Again, I want to thank you so much for being willing to share your story, being brave like that, coming on, you know, to interview with me. As long as Cody feels comfortable with it and that's what he wants to do, we're going to keep documenting his story every step of the way.
Definitely.
So you guys can see that not only is recovery possible, but all things are possible through recovery.
Exactly.
The last video we saw, you were 3 days clean, super sick, you know, way lighter than you are now, way smaller than you are now. And now look at him, like, he looks good. He looks healthy.
Right.
So thank you guys so much for watching the video.
And let's start a conversation about addiction. You know, reach out and help out our fellows.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please take a second to subscribe to this channel. You'll see more content like this. We're going to be following Cody's story and several other people's stories as well. So please subscribe to the channel. Comment your favorite thing about the video down below and like the video. If you do so, you'll be entered for a chance to win one of these awesome recovery t-shirts shown here. And I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you soon.